The size of the army is expected to be reduced by about 10,000 soldiers as part of a move towards robots, drones and cyber warfare. The Defence Review, due to be announced later, is likely to see the loss of some tanks and aircraft, but the government said there'd be more ships, submarines and sailors. Our defence correspondent Jonathan Beale reports.
The Prime Minister this morning visited a factory in Lancashire to highlight investment in developing a new British fighter jet. Part of the modernisation of the armed forces, which the government says will strengthen Britain's sovereignty, security and prosperity.
It's the biggest spend on the armed forces since the end of the Cold War. And what it's doing is it's enabling us to modernise our armed services, to give them the kit that they're going to need for 21st century conflict.
The government says the armed forces of the future will be better equipped, with Royal Marines and troops supported by robots and drones, and sent to operate in small teams to train and fight with allies all over the world, underlining the government's mantra of global Britain.
Yeah, I'll get that sorted.
It says they'll be backed up by a new kind of army, skilled in information, electronic and cyber warfare. But it'll also be smaller. The size of the regular army is expected to be cut by 10,000 to just over 70,000 soldiers.
Quantity has a quality on its own, as Stalin taught us. And we are concerned about the shrinking size of Britain's military. But I would rather have a fully capable, fully resourced, smaller British force than I would have a larger, less capable one.
I'm very concerned about these cuts. The Prime Minister in the tail end of last year was saying there won't be cuts to the military. Now we know there will, and it's another cut, and I think that will have an impact.
Extra investment is going into the Royal Navy, with new warships being ordered. But it's still expected to retire 2 older frigates early, seeing a reduction in its surface fleet before it increases later this decade. The government's already named Russia as the greatest threat, but the decision to send the Navy's new aircraft carrier to the Pacific later this year is a sign of concerns about the rise of China. But it's still not clear how many of these F-35 jets the UK can afford beyond the 48 already ordered. Jonathan Beale, BBC News.